All right, welcome everybody. Let's do it. It's time to jump into what I think is probably going to be the most exciting match of the whole Super Week.
I'm super down. We get to start it off here, after a very quick game into
Yep.
a banger game. Flowers, let's turn it up. The last game was definitely very one-sided. I expect this one to be a lot closer. I mean, last time that these two teams played was last split in our best of threes, and Team Liquid were able to upset Cloud9. A lot of people were thinking that Cloud9 was going to win going into that best of three last split, but TL, this is when they had their resurgence, on their climb to going to first stand, and they were able to win. It had the final game there with Impact pulling out the Sion and TL taking control. So I'm sure that Cloud9 have been looking forward to this, want some revenge. Against Team Liquid for sure.
All right, well, let's see how we're doing. They're both tied at 3-1 right now, coming into Super Week in that three-way tie with Lion, who are now no longer tied at that point for a second. So one of these two teams, though, will have to join Lion at 3-2, and neither of them wants to be that guy.
They'll re-tie.
Yeah. They don't want to be tied again. They want to break away from the tie. So let's see what we get here with our draft. Bans Varus, Jace, and Galio from C9 as TL ban out Yone, Gwen, and Rumble. There is a lot of solo lane focus in these first half of bans.
Oh, and we get an insta-lock Blaber Vi. The old reliable back there, Flowers. Okay, so probably something for Loki around an Arya, Taliyah, something like that to play off of this Vi. We'll see how heavily they commit to that mid-jungle duo. Meanwhile, TL might steal away one of those components that you love to pair with it.
Yeah.
Both APA, one of his best champions, as well as breaking up the synergy with Vi. I like to see that. Now, what do you follow up with here, though? Honestly, jungle looks pretty good unless you have something that Yeon is really calling for. I like that we got the a little bit of insight into lane dominant stuff for them. Yeah, there you go. Okay, there it is. Lane dominant, and it's Yeon calling for it. He's like, give me something now. We're gonna smash this bottom lane. Give me the Kalista. Get the Renata for CoreJJ. And in response to try and stay safe there for Zven, he locks in his Ezreal.
I feel like Kalista has a very common spot on first round ban lists, and so when she's not banned away, I generally just always expect to see it locked in pretty fast. The Renata, you called it. This is like her best buddy in lane. The combo is absolutely dirty, but they'll be going up against an Ezreal on the other side, piloted by Zven.
Do they ban like the Karma and Nico type of like poke champions for support for their bottom side of the map now here too? Because that is something that has become very popular, since sometimes you can give up the Kalista and you're like, all right, fine, I'll just run some double poke lane into it. Okay, so they do at least do one of those, the Karma. They could also follow it up with the Nico, although the Nico not quite as common with the Ezreal, and you can still look for stuff like Vulcan could still even do an engage like Leona or something if you wanted to pair with Ezreal. That still does pair very well and would provide Vi some more support on diving too. So they don't have to go with a double poke lane into giving up Kalista. It's just become very common because that's how you try and keep it under control.
Right, it's how you deal with it, how you survive the crazy aggro potential there. But C9, having locked in their own jungler, they're going to remove some powerful options here from TL's potential pool. Skarner being taken away from UmTi as the final ban of the draft for TL. We'll look up back towards the solo lanes again with the Gnar ban.
Yeah, Thanatos has a very, very strong preference for only a few champions in top lane, and Gnar is up there at the pinnacle, so they're just trying to take away that versatile champ. Since Gnar plays so well into so many things, especially with what Impact plays, so they don't really want to have to deal with that. And of course, the Jace and the now Renekton too have also been banned, so a lot of Thanatos' most favorite champions are banned, along with the Gwen. So I'd like to see this, and TL. What are we going to do here? I would assume they're going to save the counter pick, of course, for Impact. He's just trying to get in your head.
I could. Like, what if I slam Mordekaiser?
I could slam a Mordekaiser on you. Maybe think about that for later. I could do a Warwick top lane with barrier. Huh?
Yeah, maybe just get a little bit spicy.
Think about that, buddy. Think about those hovers.
Well, if you want something the opposite of spicy, how about some Xin Zhao?
Yeah, I mean, Xin Zhao, like I said, it's like #1 or maybe #2 most popular jungler on the patch, plus loves playing with Renata. That is such a good support for his Zinzao to play with. So here we go. Thanatos opts for the Ambessa instead, and the roam here from Bard. Okay.
All right.
A little bit different of a look. Not quite as poke heavy as a lot of the other things we are mentioning.
Right.
And opting more for roaming to make some plays.
Exactly.
Interesting. I kind of do like it when you have a carry pick like Ambessa for your top laner. Bard can really help out those lanes and get the Ambessa into a very scary spot for the other team. If you get some early money on that champion, it scales super well. And Impact, just like I said, the last game that we had from these two teams, Impact slammed a Sion as well in that one to TL's benefit, and they were able to play some good front-to-back team fighting. Impact at the front, Impact and UmTi at the front, and you're gonna have a good start to that team fight because it allows the Renata Kalista so much room to play with. Let's see if the much more pick-oriented Cloud9 comp is able to play the map, because when you do have some dangerous pick stuff like a Vi and a Bard roaming around, Cloud9 love to play once the outer towers are down. In the mid game is going to be really, really nice for them. When Ezreal's getting some spikes, when the Bard can put a lot of pressure on the side lanes by staying in Fog of War, threatening with Bard ultimates, and then when you see it, you full send your Vi, your Ambessa, those long-range ultimates to get your picks.
I'm really curious how this is going to play out, because I feel like if you're TL, you're like, yeah, we want to play around Kalista and Renata. Let him be aggressive. Let him push up. But if you're Cloud9, you're like, we're not even going to be there, bro. Bard's going to leave. Ezreal's going to farm with Q from like level 3 onwards.
Yeah, see how well Zven can stay safe and how much Vulcan can get done.
This is going to be a fun one, man. I cannot wait to see these two teams go head-to-head again. The fact that they're tied, dead even in the standings, too, I think just makes it that much more fun, because all the evidence has pointed towards, okay, you guys are really evenly matched. Let's see which one can actually pull ahead on this one. Opening up Super Week strong, I also think is important if we're talking about, the intangibles, if we're talking about momentum, starting this week off good. We haven't done a Super Week in a while. It's a little bit... a bit more of an endurance challenge.
It's kind of like an old school. Oh, okay. No,
right,
nobody breaks the ceasefire.
Okay, everybody's cool.
Just eye contact.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, all right, I see what you're doing. You see what I'm doing.
I see your ward you're placing. Okay.
All right.
I see it. Give me my 5 gold for pinging it.
Looks like, so last time in the previous game, we got to see the Ghost Varus tech. This time around, doesn't look like we're really getting anything
Not much
out
tech.
of the ordinary. No, it's all just pretty standard stuff. I guess the only thing really worth pointing out is Zven going for the teleport option for the Ezreal to have the extra macro capability versus Yeon's just raw combat power with barriers. So
Yeah, plus the extra return to lane is actually, big if you are running this Bard strategy. To be able to have Zven keep up his farm under some pressure.
Yeah.
Look at this TL. Brush control here early on. CoreJJ, nice little dodge to start it out there.
All right.
This has become one of our most common memes. The scrim is going great. Can't wait for...
Oh, yeah, that's a classic now, right?
How old is it?
Was that like 2018? I want to say like that's
really
like
getting up
2018.
there.
That's like 7 years ago, man. That one's a while back. Yeah, that's certified classic.
Dude, everybody picks Vi for Blaber fantasy. It's crazy. And then there's just like everyone's tweeting at him, and there's all this social pressure. Try and get your fantasy points.
People take it seriously, man. They want to make sure they're getting all those multipliers.
I didn't think I was going to take fantasy seriously, but I'm competitive at anything. So if I'm in it, of course I'm going to try and win and take it serious.
I remember when I was talking to Jat last weekend, he was talking about how, I just left everything from week 1 the same for week 2, and I'm just going to hope that they all play the same stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, honestly, I feel like there's some viability in that.
I did, but only because you can't change the pick past 9 a.m. on the first day. But just going to have some standard clears here at Flowers, so not a lot of exciting stuff going to happen early on. After your full clears for your junglers, and of course your Renata Kalista pushing in on the bottom side. Everyone's always focused on TL's bottom lane, and rightfully so. The bottom lane, the golden children of this team. And, and Yeon is the more favorite of the children. Yeon is the favorite child on the entire Team Liquid family, as far as the public is concerned. At the very least, he has just done so much for this team when they were doing well, when they had struggles. He's turned into a very, very reliable carry for this team, and exceptional on both the international stage as well as the domestic stage. So I say Yeon is just such a good success story of TL, building him up back through the academy team when Spawn coaching him there as well too, and working his way through the system up into finding success here on the main squad. We're going to replace the vision, and APA knows it. So recall interrupt, a couple of extra seconds. What can UmTi do with a couple of extra seconds a lead here? He's going to go back towards the top side for his full clear.
Okay.
For the Krugs respawning up there. Thanatos also kind of trading heavily up here, so he gets a little some, but the vision coverage is already there, is decent in the tri-brush. Zhao is not a very tricky jungler to be able to surprise you with gank paths unless something is super crazy. So just
pretty much what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
He's going to run at you, and then he'll dash at you, and then he'll fight you.
I mean, sometimes the coolest things he does are like W and then flash to move the second part of the W to tag somebody and then get the dash off that. Or if you can do an insect with your ulti, always feels cool, but it's fairly rare.
Or you combine that with use the first 2 hits of the Q on the creep, and then you flash to realign your W and dash, and then you instantly do the third Talon.
Pre-stacking the Q, always critical, especially if you did not go for a Titanic Hydra. But the pop-up there too, we've been talking about and looking at this top lane matchup for quite a while, anticipating this matchup. It just turns out, it's going to be very similar, where Impact is on a tank, and Thanatos here on the carry, trying to get the extra money and the extra pressure up there. But TL, off of their Kalista Renata, are going to start up the Drake and should be able to finish it, and plenty of time here. Still 30 seconds ahead of Grub Spawn.
I like this from TL to make use of the fact that they do have this very powerful bottom lane that's often not allowed through the ban phase. They're hard forcing this dragon before the grubs, like you say, are even on the map. I feel like normally 5 minutes, 30 seconds is when you're starting to see the late lane swap, where everybody just converts the bottom lanes up toward the top side. But now Loki getting jumped on here as he tries to shuffle UmTi away. Still standing and fighting, but he holds the flash and stays alive. Nicely played.
Yeah, deals a decent amount of damage to UmTi here, so it's interesting. Now that there's no Azir ultimate, and Azir's getting pushed in, UmTi and APA as a duo can go over and at least steal away one of these grubs. Like you're saying earlier, you have a smite charge. Just try and grab one. Azir is actually here, and Vulcan's here too. Vulcan is the extra person, so no grub was low enough for UmTi to be able to get that smite steal on one of them off, and Bard zooms on over. So Cloud9 get that early Bard mobility, and that will secure them all 3 of the grubs. But idea there, I like it from TL. You gank mid first, so try and get some resources, bottom side actually.
We could see the dive come out there, already trying to spend the heal on this. CoreJJ likely to drop, gets away over the wall, just barely stays alive. But now Yeon bound up into the wall. Nicely fought here from Vulcan and Zven, but they don't have enough damage to follow it up. Zven does not want to risk getting too close and getting the spear to the face.
Yeah, I actually like that from Yeon. He was confident. He's like, I have barrier as well, so even if Vulcan goes for this, I'm not going to be in any danger. Like you said, Zven was really low from the tower dive earlier, plus all the minions there. So that ends up being Vulcan's flash. They don't get really anything out of it. But nicely played from Zven under tower, utilizing that Ezreal mobility, also dodging away from Core, who, like you said, with the heating up of that tower, was close to giving over an extra death there in the attempted tower dive, but nobody does. Nothing hits the scoreboard, Flowers. So
we're still 0-0, man. 8 minutes into the game.
Supports both flashing, though, so maybe supports will be targets, especially junglers love going after these types of supports. They're both fairly squishy early on, and without the flashes will be a bit vulnerable. Vi ultimate is there for Blaber, so definitely a possibility for him to follow up.
Yeah, I'm not really expecting us to see a whole lot for another, 2.5 minutes or so when we get both of these neutral objectives spawning almost exactly on the same timer. I do expect to see more of this as Vulcan just roams around the map, constantly trying to be as annoying as possible, clearing out all the vision, place a couple of hot cocos there for Loki, make it easier for him to play aggressively with his own trading. I mean, 2 hot cocos is the same HP recovery as like a health potion, so feels pretty good on that.
Yeah, definitely feels good for Loki. Who, of course, saved his flash in the last play, didn't panic, as you were saying.
That was really good.
And so still has all of the playmaking ability. A Vi with flash, an Azir with flash. Definitely a lot of possibilities there. Of course, Vulcan with the Bard ultimate now, too. He's returning bottom lane at the moment, but we'll start to see if Cloud9 can make use of all these very threatening pick tools that they do have drafted for themselves. Meanwhile, junglers actually going after different lanes. And with the wards clear on top side, TL know that they've got the advantage here.
UmTi gets stunned up into the wall with the Magical Binding there. Magical Binding is such an interesting spell because of the way it feels like it doesn't work exactly like you would expect with the binding angle into the wall. But
I've heard some people use some other words to describe it.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay polite.
It stuns you a lot. It's got a forgiving, connection. Radius,
the tether distance or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, sure. I do think Cloud9's bottom lane deserves credit for how well they have played the defense on this opener of their Ezreal Bard. Even though they are getting pushed in a whole bunch, and it's kind of what you expect. And I think their defense has been quite good, surviving as well as getting the Bard plays up to the other spots. And staying competitive down there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they are still down in gold. They're down like a couple of waves of farm, but it's still only a 250 gold lead for the Kalista. But then everywhere else on the map, not quite as big of leads, but still leads the other way for Cloud9.
Yeah. And it's kind of what you're thinking. When you're drafting this into the Kalista Renata, you're giving over to, by the way, the most lane-dominant duo in the entire league, Yeon and CoreJJ. You're thinking, oh, this is pretty scary, so you got to be careful there. And Zven has been stacking his cull, avoid the death at the very least. I will say, that TL bottom lane, they have just straight up 2-on-2 killed a lot of people. So they avoided certain death there. Void grubs are up, though, Flowers.
All right. We've got our grubs up. The dragon's going to spawn here in just a couple of seconds as well. Team Liquid took that first one. C9 getting all 3 of that first set of grubs. But it looks like TL probably more concerned about the grubs here this time, as C9 will already start up the Drake themselves. Blaber dashing over the wall there with a Vault Breaker to guarantee they have total control over this pit. Nobody from TL is really in the neighborhood. Core and Yeon are going to walk up now.
They're so late.
Blaber should be able to secure this very easily. Yeah, it's just a Vault Breaker and a Magical Journey over the wall, and Core and Yeon just feels like they're wasting their time.
And it's not like they didn't know. There's a Team Liquid ward right there inside, watching the whole thing happen. And so they did waste a decent... Yeah, I agree with that frog. When you're spending time, just walking over, kind of watching it, you never want to walk and just watch stuff in League.
Yeah, you can't be walking around on your phone in game.
Stuff.
Yeah. Got to get involved.
Blaber, though.
Blaber's doing stuff, but not the kind of stuff that he wants. UmTi working together with Yeon and Core here to find the enemy jungler, and Blaber will not survive. He tried to flash to escape there at the very end, but there was enough damage from Yeon, and that's first blood 12 minutes into the game.
Rend him up. That was very nice. Even though TL did prior waste a bit of time walking towards Dragon, UmTi then kind of used that as like route over to camp for Blaber coming back to his camps. So sneaky stuff there, waiting in the brush for him, and a good combination from CoreJJ. I would not say it's common, but I have seen Renatas miss the combo of using Kalista and ult knockup. Wait a second.
Uh-oh. Tempered Fate locks up too. Core and UmTi both immediately flashing, not wanting to get caught by the Magical Binding right after, as Yeon has to join back up with his team and try to get away. The hostile takeover creates space, but nothing more. C9 doing a good job stepping forward, even after having lost their jungler. Now he's back on the map. They will scare Team Liquid away before they can secure the entire grub set, so it'll be a 5-1 grub take overall for C9.
I think scare is the key word there, Flowers, because they look very jumpy. Yeon throws his spear over the back of the wall and then flashes over, and they're scrambling out. That is 3 flashes blown here for TL. They got 1 grub, so you denied the full 6, but still
does not feel good.
Little jumpy there, and especially after getting a kill.
Ooh, nice shuffle coming out from Loki. Needs a little bit more damage here to kill off APA, but shouldn't struggle to find it. APA just trying to buy as much time as he can, but C9 tying up the game.
Cloud9. Interesting stuff here. It's looking pretty good. Of course, our big focus was going to be on how many picks can they get later.
Right.
Bard.
That's
roam,
1.
Bard was, yeah. Good. Keep going there.
All right.
They were on the receiving end of 1 with Blaber, walking through, unbeknownst to him in the jungle, getting jumped on, but they get 1 right back there. Meanwhile, with the 5 grubs, you don't need the full 6 to still have a lot of pushing power. So getting these outer towers down, the goal for Cloud9, the goal from Champion Select, is made that much easier for them to do. And then we'll start to see if they can really bring the full power here of roaming around, Bard forcing people's flashes, Vi following up. There's a ward and Tri-Brush, so Yeon and CoreJJ know that they've got the extra members here, and they call the rest of Team Liquid. There's always the possibility of APA Taliyah wall coming down for a counterplay.
Yeah.
So you do have to be a little careful when you're Cloud9 going for some of these side lane trailing moves that Vulcan's been going for.
Well, Team Liquid trying to move into enemy territory here, place down some wards, see if they can figure out what C9 is up to, but C9's not giving them a whole lot to work with. I think it's also interesting, the stats that just popped up on the screen, it's 1 plate to 2 over the course of the entire 14-minute early game. This has been a very, very slow game between these two. It's Tempered Fate, another nice 2-man hit coming out from Vulcan, but now the Weaver's Wall to try to defend it. Team Liquid wants to make their exit, but a beautiful binding onto 2. Yeon and APA are both just collapsing as UmTi tries to defend, but he's still just hobbling away from the fight. Impact arrives, but it's way too late to do anything. The feat of warfare is claimed as C9 pick up 2 for nothing, and they might just look to get some more. UmTi's only got 50 HP remaining, and Impact won't be able to protect him for long. Thanatos takes the first kill, and another one goes over to Blaber. C9 are murdering these guys.
Flowers.
Yes.
How many picks now? Because the Bard ultimate on
a fistful of picks.
2 champions that Vulcan was the one to blow their flashes. So Vulcan, earlier at the grubs, he blows both Yeon and CoreJJ's flashes, and then he's able to hit with the Bard ult. As they arrive, the Taliyah combo was mistimed on Thanatos, so Thanatos rips him a new one, and after that, it's a scramble. Like, of course, they're just trying to survive, running for their towers. Only CoreJJ escapes, though. That was just... That was the exactly. That was the most brutal version of the picks that we had been talking about that this comp is capable of. That right there was the most painful, most brutal, because TL's advantage with their side is, oh, we've got the Sion. We want to play front to back. Our 5-on-5 is good. But when it comes in and the teleports are mismatched and Taliyah combo isn't able to interrupt there, then it is a very good job for Cloud9 taking advantage after those pit. TL still, though, on the push out, we can see them picking up another dragon as well as trading the tower here on bottom side for that top 1 and the Rift Herald.
And I think a big reason why that fight just seemed so doomed, when you're talking about TL like we have been talking about the way they draft around this Kalista, this is your point of power. You want to make sure that you have this so that your star player in Yeon can be aggressive. I don't think that Kalista got to throw a single spear in that previous fight. I don't think he got a single auto attack off because of how well coordinated that engage was, like you're talking about. And if C9 can keep finding those angles and Team Liquid's just constantly having to try to scramble to get away from this Bard, I just don't see how they're going to figure this out. It's a 4,000 gold deficit now from what was just, 500, 600 before the big Bard play?
Yeah, because Cloud9, well, wait a second here. UmTi, it is still a little dangerous.
Okay, Blaber. Gotta try to be slightly careful on this one. Is going to take a ton of damage there. The Bard ulti doesn't do a whole lot as Blaber's still trying to get away. UmTi goes in with a wind, becomes lightning, but a nice shield from Blaber, keeping him alive for now. True shot barrage over the wall. Blaber lives. Are you kidding me?
Oh, he's just tanky enough. Proxes, blast shield at the end, Sundered, Sky, Blaber, barely living. He needed every little bit of HP and shielding there.
That's crazy, man.
To escape. I mean, his ultimate to avoid the initial engage and then flash out immediately. Q. Rift Herald here does. All right, Rift Herald is down.
Okay, yeah, not the greatest.
But Blaber survived.
But yeah,
Cloud9 Rift Herald down, but Blaber lived.
Okay, Herald taken care of, so at least Team Liquid got that going for him, but it's still over a 4,000 gold deficit. It's still C9 with the enchanted boots from claiming the feats early. Ambessa is now at the 2-item power spike of Eclipse plus Voltaic Cyclosword. This champion is so obnoxious to deal with on this spike. He will just be a menace in these upcoming fights.
Look at that Sundered Sky and Blast Shield proc that Blaber did. It was just enough.
Oh my!
Click on that champ. How many?
Click on it.
Was that single digits?
It looked like it had to be. That was so low.
Definitely did. Anyways, more invates.
Okay. Ooh, AKA manages to steal away the red buff, so a minor win there for Team Liquid.
We'll take that.
They want to maintain some form of control here on the Rift. They don't want to just continue to allow C9 to roam around and make these picks, because I feel like this C9 comp, Kobe, if they get to the point where you were talking about back in draft, where Cloud9 likes to play this mid-game stage where the tier 1 turrets are down, they're in your jungle, they're setting up picks, they're finding them, like that is so scary if they're doing it from a point of a really powerful gold lead.
100%, and it's always the first step is to blow these flashes. You know, last time it was blow 3 flashes at the grub fight and then get a bunch of kills later in the second attempt at picks. So step number 1 here is going to be blowing some more flashes.
Okay.
The towers are already down, as you say. So,
nice. Thanatos going in for CoreJJ.
Never mind. Just kill him. No flash necessary.
That Renata got absolutely destroyed. Blink and you'll miss it. CoreJJ, that'll be his first death this game. But now with the opportunity to keep the push going, C9 wants to continue the pressure here on the mid lane, trying to put some damage onto that turret, but not getting a ton as Team Liquid rallies together to clear the minions away. 20 minutes on the clock now, so we do have Otacon spawning around the top half this game.
Man, TL. So again, some of the strengths that they drafted on their side were mainly going to be around the strong bot duo, plus having a Sion for team fights later.
Yeah.
But because Cloud9 have gotten so much gold, like how Renata and Sion have to be so good in the team fight to make up a lot of this value, because Cloud9 members have all the damage.
CoreJJ in a bad spot again. One more shot would have finished him off, but Yeon there clutch with the Fates call to save him, get Core out with that 100 HP remaining. That is Muramana Trinity Force Ezreal. One more just basic auto attack in the air would have absolutely killed Core there. So Yeon having to commit that ulti, but now Kobe, that's a really big team fighting tool that's not available. 35 seconds until the Drake spawns. The only thing TL's really got going for them right now is that they've at least got a couple of Drakes, but I don't really see how they're going to fight for the next one after that.
Yeah, it is rough. I mean, they've got their single item completions, but Cloud9 members, most of them have 2.
Yeah.
All of the ones that are not support have at least 2.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty rough.
Don't fight that dragon then.
No, stay away from that dragon.
They all have their second items already completed. Do not fight that dragon.
Look at your nameplate. If the first 2 letters are T and L, you stay away from the dragon for now. Yeah, and it looks like that's the call.
Maybe they can make a pick of their own. You know, they've got a Taliyah wall to work with. They're hex skating.
Okay. Trying to get a little bit clever with it, but Vulcan kind of sees what's going on here, and Thanatos still has a full HP turret that he's safely able to take some refuge under as Team Liquid starting up the Otacon. Now, critically, not going to overcommit to this. Otacon just disappeared. Okay, never mind. He fell into the fog of war. I was like, I don't remember him having that ability.
Now he's angry.
Yeah, now he's really... he farmed the minion. Plus 90 gold for Otacon.
Yeah, who gets the gold in that situation? Does Otacon give you a bigger reward now than when you kill him?
That would actually be really funny if he just farms up the minion.
Yeah. Can he store the gold like a dragon?
Yeah, a big party pinata Otacon. Party pinata-con.
Because that version of Otacon, it actually gets to stay away from the home longer when he does the channel.
Oh, yeah, true.
Really venture out and go farm some of his own minions. minions.
All right, that was great. Otacon farming the minion was that's a good one. But Team Liquid needs to find a way to stop this game from getting further away from a man. We're up to a 5,000 gold deficit now.
How are Team Liquid going to recover from not getting that minion?
That's true. That's a lot of money.
Even the Otacon is denying them.
Yeah, Otacon. The game is rigged. Otacon even wearing a C9 jersey on this one as Team Liquid trying to see maybe if there's an angle to find something. Loki will clear out the TL vision up around the Otacon pit. And man, that just means if you're TL, you're like, well, we should probably have some vision over that thing. We need to make our way back over there. But look at the map. Yeah, Observer's doing a good job here with the Fog of War, just showing how dark the rift is for TL.
UmTi was spotted.
Yeah, you're not going to hurt that Ambessa. Not like that. I actually think that even if they manage to jump on him and hit him with a seismic shove, they don't kill him. Like the amount of shielding and everything is just way out of control. As now Blaber and Loki starting up the Otacon. As Zven needs to try to escape Team Liquid back over here in the mid lane. The wind becomes lightning, does not connect. Team Liquid is hoofing it up here to try to bring everybody to the battle. A nice true shot barrage from Zven, chunking a third of the HP from both bottom laners of TL, dissuades them from walking up any further and secures the Otacon for C9. It seems to be going from bad to worse for the Blue Horse boys.
It does seem that way, Flowers. Looks can be deceiving,
okay,
but I don't think they are.
Well, I'm looking at 5,500 gold, and I've played a lot of League of Legends, and usually that's not the best situation.
And they've got Otacon, the int buff, so they've got Bard can turn off towers. They all have revivals.
You can just full send at any given time. Public execution from Thanatos going in after Impact. Forces him to flash. He wanted to use the ulti to make more distance, but it's immediately interrupted. Hostile takeover. Going to find 3 there. End up doing a lot of damage to Blaber with that one, who will spin the flash to get away from the counterpunch of TL. Even if he does have the int buff, he doesn't want to int it just yet.
Yeah.
Man. Weaver's Wall even only knocks Zven over there. Oof.
Give me that. Give me that Krug. He ulted the mini Krugs? He ulted the mini Krugs.
That's
get all 4 of them quick.
You just got to make a statement.
Did that give him enough time to finish it?
Oh, it did. The ulting the baby Kruggies was 400 IQ.
That gave him enough time to finish his channel. Because you can start the ult channel as you kill the big one, and they're small, they're falling.
Yeah.
And then it instantly kills them all.
Oh,
that's sick.
Speaking of getting instantly killed, APA just wiped out of the river, wiped off the rift. That's the enemy mid laner dead for the next 45 seconds, and even once he respawns, it's not like he has his ulti or his teleport to try to get to the fight. So C9 just see the green light to start up the Baron. They've already got it down to just about 5,000 HP. Thanatos looking to run interference and keep everybody on Team Liquid away. Impact going to soak some damage for now, but he is not tanky enough to do this for an extended period of time. Thanatos continuing to scrap, wanted to go in after Yeon, not quite enough damage to finish him off, as now UmTi is back down in the pit, but C9 have already managed to secure themselves the objective. They'll kill UmTi, APA still dead from before. C9, all they end up losing is Thanatos' false life.
Whew. I mean, that is 100% correct play there for Cloud9, forcing on Baron with the extra lives. Maybe a tiny bit amount of risk there if something is stolen, but nothing is stolen. The death cap is done for Loki. Immediately Zven teleporting back out to push with Baron buff. Let's take a look at the replay. So, UmTi's walking around. The Bard ult from Vulcan was so good to deny him, but he still made it kind of scary. Hit that Zhao W, got his charge in to be close.
Back to live, and APA is almost dead again. Thanatos hitting him with the public execution as Zven is just free-firing. This Sion is nowhere near durable enough to survive the gold lead that C9 has built. Over 10,000 gold, 26 minutes into the game. Kobe, we didn't have first blood until 12 minutes into the game, and now just 27 minutes on the clock. It's looking like C9's ready to end it, as they've got the Baroned up minion wave ready to crash into the 2 Nexus turrets. Impact is still dead for more than 20 seconds. Nice catch there on Vulcan. Thanks to APA and the seismic shove, they'll at least pick one, but they gotta keep fighting. CoreJJ's about to die. The bailout will not save him as Yeon barely escapes away from the shovel, but APA can't say the same. Now UmTi's stuck here on the front line, and there's just too much damn damage. Yeon falls. Everybody on TL falls. Impact's not even back alive. 13-3. C9 made it easy, and they're gonna take the dub over Team Liquid.